Oh, what? You thought I was gonna shy away from an easy YouTube target? Oh, you silly giraffe. Get to the fucking intro. So naturally we'll be starting with EA's press conference, not because they did theirs first, but because they're too cool to present at E3 like everyone else. Seemingly taking cues from Ubisoft and Konami when it comes to cringe factor.
I said everyone go.
We start off with an awkward drum segment because the people at the show aren't actually there for video games. Don't worry though, EA knows this and will keep up the trend of talking about anything but the actual games. They then reveal the second DLC for Battlefield 1, all with a bunch of forced reactions from YouTubers and a blatant attempt to seem more relatable. The same kind of relatable that led to Dungeon Keeper Mobile's excuse for its money grabbing. Innovative, my ass. Anyway, we got sports, more sports.
I went early, Rog. I went early.
These guys, despite being the dumbest couple of I'm a totally hip and far out member of the internet people I have ever seen, stole the show. But they still did this long adult segment about some jackhole named Alex Hunhao, and maybe some kind of game, I'm not sure. Insert totally not Forza with a story, or some kind of action game, I don't know. The lack of originality made it really hard to tell. I don't need to say anything about this guy, his whatever that was speaks for itself. Oh, but we're not quite out of people who are not prepared for a professional presentation. This poor man had to reveal a game that had probably the most horribly cut trailer I have ever seen with the ugliest protagonist since Quasimodo.
And what was I going to say? Yeah, let me tell you. Okay, wait, it's coming to me.
Anyway, we got even more sports, a for some reason universally dubbed Destiny clone, and a hilariously out of place announcement of EA's involvement with a few charities. Yes, because that's what everybody's there for, EA. They want to see you stroke yourself while saying, look guys, we partnered with charities. We're good people. Please suck me, dad. And we finally get to the Star Wars Battlefront 2 segment, which has this woman fingering herself at the thought of how the game will actually have what is a basic standard for Battlefront games. All while she seems pretty livid at having to talk about the single player. Almost like EA was thinking, God, the fucking ungrateful hack's not liking our masterpiece of an unfinished product. Fine, we'll put in your stupid fucking story. Are you happy now? But at least we're getting free content later down the line, which I wish I had something cynical to say about that, but free content is free content. But who cares about Star Wars Battlefront 2? Visceral's got a new Star Wars game coming out, so how much new info did we get on that? What are you, fucking stupid? You get fuck all, dipshit. Better wait until Gamescom for them to say they'll reveal gameplay at PAX, you fucking sucker. Anyway, I don't know how to end this segment before we get to Microsoft's E3 presentation, so I'll just give it an obligatory score. And because fuck the 10 out of 10 system and the school grading system is more consistent, I give this presentation a D. Not enough sports. Next up, we got the Microsoft E3 conference. I'll be the first to say that I mainly game on Xbox, so take that for what you will. They understandably decided to reveal the
Xbox One X
first, which is probably the second worst console name of all time next to the Xbox One. Hype for the console quickly died, however, after they announced that it'd be sold for a whopping $500, which, if it were still 2014 when a standalone Xbone cost $400, might be acceptable. But good luck getting me to shovel my money into a fire for some extra pixels when I could spend less than $400 for a 1S and a game bundled with it. Unlike the dumpster fire that was EA's press conference, Microsoft actually focused on talking about games during the entire event. Now, there were too many games announced to provide a full, concise opinion about each one, so we'll do things a little bit differently. I'm sure you'll catch on quick after I get started. Car advert because fuck you. Fallout 5, but not really. Gods of Egypt, but not obnoxious garbage. Probably. H1Z1? Question mark? No Man's Sky with actual multiplayer. Hey Joe, wanna play a zombie game? What the actual fuck just happened? Super duper fuck off. ADHD, the video game. Elder Scrolls Online done better. Actually looks really nice. Coming when it's damn well ready. Insert post-apocalyptic anime title here. Give us a fucking release date already. What? Man, Crash Bandicoot sure has changed a lot. Still the most artistically interesting game announced so far. A bunch of games you don't care about. A cheaper Dark Souls. Why? No! Stop! Shrek is love. Shrek is life. I'm not crying. I'll just be that guy. It does look better than Destiny 2. The coup de grace of the entire event is the revelation that Microsoft is opening the doors to backwards compatibility with the original Xbox, which, if I do say so myself, is pretty fucking awesome. Now I just need to work on actually remembering the games I used to play on that system that wasn't Halo Combat Evolved. Overall, I do give this E3 presentation an F- to the 10 billionth times infinity. Give us back Scalebound, you fucking assholes. But in actuality, I give it a C. What could I possibly fucking say about Bethesda's E3 conference? This possibly confirms my belief that Bethesda is slowly and very, very painfully turning into Ubisoft's successor as either being too lazy to even try anymore, or too inept to capitalize on their legacy. Why am I even bothering wasting my time on my concerns for Bethesda's future when I could be talking about the game reveals during the conference? What fucking reveals? Not including DLC or VR support for games that don't benefit from it, Bethesda revealed 2 games. 2! 22 fucking minutes into the press release, they announced a sequel for both The Evil Within and Wolfenstein. That's it! The rest of the press release was Bethesda essentially reminding everyone why we even give a shit about them anymore, with VR support for 2 games, one of which might actually be hurt by it, a reminder that you can play a better Morrowind game for less than half the cost, and a reminder that Bethesda is essentially clenching our balls in their fist with an Elder Scrolls card game that nobody asked for. You know you fucked up when E-fucking-A had a better press release with more game reveals if you count the endless sports game reskins as reveals. I give this E3 conference an unironic F. No hyperbole. What the fuck happened, Bethesda? Oh my god. After that shit show of an E3 showing, you'd imagine that the one from Ubisoft would be enough to give me an aneurysm, but how's this for a curveball? Their E3 showing wasn't actually half bad. Right off the bat, Ubisoft comes out of left field with the big guns and announces a joint project with Nintendo called Mario and Rabbids Kingdom Battle, which is essentially an XCOM duplicate but set in the Mario universe with the added touch of Rabbids. But not before the obligatory E3 2017 awkward moment of this show, that being the introduction of Miyamoto of Nintendo on the stage. Though it was admittedly tame compared to the previous conferences. We then got another trailer for the new Assassin's Creed game, but not really much new information that we couldn't get from the initial reveal during Microsoft's conference. Afterwards, we got a sequel nobody asked for, a reminder that the butthole is indeed fractured, and another stupid VR announcement that had the unintended results of making me want to watch Wilfred again. Then we got possibly the best reveal of the show, where Ubisoft, the same publisher to have one of the best pirate games of all time, though not primarily tagged as such, announced a full-blown pirate game seemingly in response to Sea of Thieves. While Skull and Bones was in the prime position to launch within the year to tide us over until Sea of Thieves, it's unfortunately coming much later. You'd think that it could only get much better than that, but after that we got to see, there's that cringe moment we were looking for. Nothing like some dancing scorpions to completely turn me off of an otherwise solid E3 conference.
Somebody, I just wanna dance with somebody.
Oh, but it gets so much better. Ubisoft being Ubisoft, an entire 2 sections of the show were segmented for an advertisement for a mobile app and a rival to Skylanders. We also finally get to see some Far Cry 5 and for fuck's sake, let's read the writing that's on the wall. It won't be any different from Far Cry 4. Hell, not even Far Cry 3 for that matter. And before you tell me, but there's a dog companion now. Yeah. No. They did seem to end strong with the reveal of Beyond Good and Evil 2, and I'm sure I'd be super hyped for it if I was a mega fan of the first, but let's be honest, they'll find a way to fuck it up somehow. Regardless, this wasn't too bad of an E3 showing, especially for someone like Ubisoft, so I think it's pretty fair to give this one a B. And now we get to Sony. If you guys remember, I did say that I'm mainly an Xbox gamer. In fact, the only PlayStation system I currently own is a PS Vita, which I only purchased for niche games like Dragon Ball Z Battle of Z and God Eater. So I obviously can't really look at this press release as someone who knows a lot about PlayStation. Instead, I chose to look at this event with the purpose of drawing me in as a customer. So I asked myself constantly, would this make me want a PS4? And I'm gonna be bluntly honest with you, this was the most boring E3 press conference I have ever sat through, and it's safe to say that Sony has not earned a new customer today. It opened with a pretty sweet performance, which at the very least was fun to sit through and had some pretty cool stage effects. However, I'm watching this for the video games, not for some random bullshit. I've already sat through 4 of those, and a 5th time is just a bit irritating. Other than that, there was... I don't know. If you're a diehard PlayStation consumer, then maybe you can fill me in on this, but was Sony always this bad at presenting things? Up until the trailer for Marvel vs. Capcom and again with Detroit Become Human, it felt like I was watching trailers for modified versions of the same game. Even with the God of War trailer, if Kratos didn't have those tattoos, it wouldn't have been all that different from the first 3 games. This is to say nothing about the sheer amount of VR dick riding that went on during Sony's presentation. I got sick of seeing that stupid fucking logo at the bottom left corner of the screen within seconds, and not even the audience was too keen with it. Hell, they didn't even applaud for the last one to be shown, which I thought was fucking hilarious. They all seemed like they felt obliged or required to be on cue with the applause for whenever a title card popped up, but not a single sound was made for the last of them. The only games to really get some attention were Destiny 2, which of course rode that exclusivity train to hell and back, COD World War II, which if you fooled yourself into thinking that going back in time is innovative for COD, don't come crying to me when you're inevitably burned. And of course, God of War, the one thing besides The Last of Us 2 that everyone was waiting for. Oh, and Sony also says fuck you to anyone that was waiting for The Last of Us 2. Add on the rubbing of salt into the wound that Spider-Man is staying on PlayStation, and we have a press conference that at least bored me half to death, and at most made me hate the idea of exclusivity even more. And from the like to dislike ratio on the video itself, I think it's safe to assume that many PlayStation gamers agree. It's not that I hate PlayStation as a whole or anything, but their E3 showing didn't do it any favors for me. I'd have to give it a D. Sorry guys, not this year. Well, I think that about wraps it up for me, and no, I'm not gonna cover anything Nintendo's got aside from that joint project with Ubisoft. 1, because fuck you and your content claiming bullshit, and 2, the entire E3 so far has completely tired me out. You know something's wrong when Ubisoft, of all entities, had the best E3 showing this year. But a close enough success for the Black Flag, a cool looking collaboration, and an okay looking Assassin's Creed game puts it way above the corporate mess of EA, the travesty of Bethesda, the bore fest of Sony, and the straight up disappointment of Microsoft. Let me know who you guys thought won this year's E3, and I'll see you in the next video.